name is Donya Ture, and I am the author of Free Falling into Your Higher Self. And the last time I was with you, I was discussing how interesting it is when you get to the place where you know that you have the perseverance to keep going, to get to achieve a goal. And you know that you have the willpower and the belief in yourself to get to the finish line. But how fascinating it is that even when we have attained those skills, sometimes we still can conceive of a dream or an ambition that we just don't believe will happen. We just can't believe in that particular goal. It's either it's too good to be true, or it's so beyond our environment and what we've been exposed to, or what it would take to manifest is a personality that is so beyond what is known to us about ourselves. And my conclusion is this, and this is a two-part conclusion. But my conclusion is this: that sometimes, in order to believe in something that you want to attain, you just have to keep telling yourself, this will happen, this will come to pass, this is possible, this will manifest, this will happen, this will come to pass. And you continue to tell yourself that over and over again. And when we get to that place in our lives, because see, a lot of people aren't there yet. A lot of people are still struggling with just, do they believe in themselves? You know, do they have the perseverance? You are so blessed. You are so fortunate if you know about yourself that you have the fire in your belly to attain a dream. If you have that, then that's beautiful. That's not all you need, but if you have that, that's great, because so many people unfortunately don't have that. They don't even have the belief in themselves. And so we'll get to that. That's part two of, my conclusion regarding what happens when we can't believe in a particular goal. But let's just deal with this right now. So when you have an ambition that you would like to attain, and it's just so difficult to believe that it can come to pass, then what you need to do is you just have to insert into your subconscious mind that this will happen until your subconscious mind starts to believe it. I think that what happens is that we are we'll do this. We'll say, I want this to come to pass. It will come to pass. I believe it, and we'll do that. But then 2 or 3 months go by, and we think, well, I still don't believe it, so I guess it's not going to happen. And what I would like to say to you is that you cannot determine when this seed is going to take root. All of that which we experience is nature. It's part of nature. And there are unseen energetic qualities, unseen forces, and just things beyond our ability to know, for us to be able to say when we should believe something and when it should have taken root. We're not capable of that. And I realize that many people think that they are, and we believe that we know so much. We think that we know so much, and so many people go around boasting and projecting this self that is supposed to be all-knowing, but that's just not part of our nature. Our nature, we are observers, and the knowing aspect of life is for God. We are observers, and we can see patterns, but patterns change, and so you cannot say when that seed should take root. The only thing that you can do when you have been visualizing and meditating on a particular goal for months and months and months and it has not come to pass, the only thing that I know to do in that instance is to ask for guidance and ask, is this for my higher good? And I don't always get a very clear answer, but if I don't get a no, if I don't get a feeling of serious resistance, then I just have to persevere. And I really do think that we have to take on a warrior point of view or a warrior image when it comes to life. Life is challenging. It's supposed to be challenging. And if we go around thinking, oh, poor me, things just aren't working out, and, and I try and things just don't work out and people aren't nice to me, if we're going to go around like that, we're going to be miserable. The universe will not feel sorry for that type of mentality. You have to have a warrior's mentality. You have to think that I have what it takes and I'm going to attain it, and I'm going to bring on board all of my spiritual resources. But I will not give up. I will never give up. And that's how we have to approach life. So the first part of my conclusion for what happens when we can't believe in a goal is to tell ourselves over and over again that this will happen, this will come to pass. When you start to feel more confident with it, then the next step is to actually insert feeling and motion into this visualization, where you ask yourself, what would it feel like if it were actually true? How would I feel? How would I act? What would change around me? And you want to engage your emotions, and that is so essential. I really can't emphasize that enough. I really hope that you understand how important the emotional aspect is, because I'm about to go on to something else. So really, that's incredibly essential. That is the blood. That is the bloodline of your creation. And without the blood, obviously it won't come to pass. It will not be manifest. So you want to inject that blood. You want to inject the life in there. And emotions bring everything to life, even on a mundane level. The second half of this conclusion, when we find it hard to believe in something, what can we do? The second half of that is when we find it hard to believe in something, often it is because we perceive ourselves or we perceive the life around us as incongruent with this goal. And, a really great example might be someone whose parents struggled financially in life, and they remember their grandparents, and their grandparents struggled as well. And so for this individual to see themselves as abundant, living with a surplus of financial abundance is something that's beyond almost what they can grasp. And so what I would like to say to people who have self-images that are incongruent with their dreams, I would like you to realize that you don't know anything about yourself. You have observed many things. I will give you that. But you don't know anything about yourself. You are continuing to grow and expand, and there are qualities that you have not even seen because you believe you know yourself. And because you know yourself, there is a barrier that prevents you from seeing anything that contradicts what you believe you know. Now, if you decide that it might be a good idea to not know anything about yourself, to simply observe, to be able to say this: I am often upset when I'm in traffic and the traffic is slow. I genuinely get annoyed when people are late. I prefer to eat at 6 o'clock. So if you say these sort of things about yourself, then that's okay. Because you're just making observations. You're not saying I am an angry person when I'm in traffic. You just tend to be angry. You're not saying that you're always annoyed when people are late. You're saying that you tend to be annoyed when people are late. Any one of those qualities could change at a drop of a dime if something about you just was adjusted in the least bit. You could have a conversation with someone that would expand your consciousness and your awareness. You could, by accident, notice a quality about yourself that would change how you view other aspects of your personality. At any given moment, you can expand and become somewhat different. And if you continue to become somewhat different all of the time, then you continue to grow into an individual that looks much, much different than the individual that you were last year and a few years ago. And so what I would suggest is that you consider letting go of knowing and instead embracing observing life. And I think that it's quite fine to notice patterns and to say to yourself or to another individual, maybe you're going to behave in a different way, but I have noticed that when I bring up this particular subject, you tend to get annoyed. Sure, I think that that's fine to say, that you notice a pattern. But when we believe that we know things about ourselves, about life, about other people, what happens is there's a period after that issue or after that observation that we're saying is factual, and there's no more growth. After every period, there is no more growth. And so in a sense, the more you know, the less you grow. But the more you observe, the more expansive you become. And that's just simply a reality. And so in terms of why it is hard for us to believe things that are contrary to our image or our environment is because we are looking at ourselves and our environment as something that is factual and etched in stone. We're looking at it as it is something concretized. And because we're looking at this thing as being impermeable, then there's a wall. And if you want to get beyond that wall, then you have to view it differently. And you have to view it as not something that cannot change. It is not something that is etched in stone. And so I would like you to consider those two things. That one, there are times when if it's difficult to believe in something, then you just have to repeat to yourself over and over again that this will happen, this will come, this will be. And you may have to do that for months and months and months. And you have to have a warrior's attitude about this life. And then the second thing that I would like you to consider is that if you only observe life and you observe yourself, you will always grow and you will always surprise yourself. You will always be the most mysterious, intriguing individual to yourself and to everyone else around you, because you will surprise yourself. The less you know yourself, the more you will surprise yourself. And when I say the less you know yourself, I do not mean to say please do not be aware of yourself. No, completely be aware of who you are. Because if you are not aware of who you are going to be incredibly exasperating to the rest of us. Because you will be in denial about so many things. So be aware of who you are. Just make more observations and less knowing statements.